What's up, math fans? Today I want to talk about how to put a quadratic function in Vertex form. So first of all, you got to remember what a quadratic function is. A quadratic function, basically, if you're comfortable with quadratic expressions and quadratic equations, a quadratic function is the same thing. It looks like this. It's something x squared plus some other number with an x and then a constant, no x at all. So I'm sure you've seen it as ax squared plus bx plus c. That's how I've taught it. And I usually say equals 0. That's when you're solving for x. Now I don't want to solve for x. Now I want to graph it. So when I graph it, I'm considering it a function. A function is a relationship between x and y in this case. So I would say y equals that. Okay, I'm going to say y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is a quadratic function in standard form. Standard form means I can type it in the calculator and look at the graph. If you have a graphing calculator, you find the y equals button, press it, and then you type this given the specific numbers, of course. This is the general case. This is one specific case. So you type it in and you look at what the graph looks like. I want to show it to you without using the calculator. So let's start with the parent graph. And parent graph, actually, if you saw this, which I put up a while ago, absolute value translations, I explained what a parent graph is. The parent graph is the basic graph. Basic graph of absolute value would be y equals absolute value of x. And when I graph it, it looks like a V, but you can't just look at a random V. There's actually specific points there. And again, I'm going to show you how to get those points. But then what's a translation is when I move it around. Moving it around means adding or subtracting numbers to the parent equation. So for example, here, the green one, I've moved it to the right and up. I've shifted it to the right and up. That's called a translation. And the equation here would look like y equals absolute value of x minus h plus k. What that means is I put a number inside and a number outside. The number inside shifts it left and right. The number outside shifts it up and down. If you watch my video, you'll see. Be careful with the signs. I explained that also. The more complicated ones have a number in front of the bars also, but I don't want to touch that right now. So let's go over here. Let's say I want to see what the graph of y equals x squared looks like. I have to graph it, so I type it in the calculator. I look at the graph, it's very pretty. On a graph, there's an infinite amount of points. Your teacher's going to want to see at least 5 or 7 points. Where do you get those points from is a button on that same graphing calculator that says table. So to find it, you would press the second or shift key and then the graph button, because right above the graph is the word table. And in that table, you're going to see this. But I'm going to show you how to build it on your own. It's nice to have 0 in the middle of your table, but not always. I will do it for this one. 0's in the middle. Let's put a couple numbers before 0 and a couple numbers after 0, and you'll see there's symmetry. So I'll go -1, -2, and I'll go 1, 2. I already cheated, I gave you an answer. If x is 0, okay, I'm just assuming, I'm picking random numbers. If x is 0 and I plug in 0 here, 0 squared is still 0, so that means y would also equal 0. So that's why I put 0 here. What if x was 1? Plug in 1 here. What's 1 squared? Still 1. What if x was 2? 2 squared, that gives me 4. What if x was -1? -1 squared, -1 times itself is +1. And then -2 squared is +4. So that is what the calculator does, but it does it for every single x value all the way to -infinity, all the way to +infinity. I don't need that. I just want a nice picture of what's going on in the middle. So I actually graphed it for you. Here's 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, and I went ahead and did 3, 9 as well, and -3, 9 as well. And then we're going to connect the dots. Don't just leave it like that. So here's my parent graph. And the parent graph is called a parabola. And just like the absolute value parent graph, it's going to shift when you mess around with the equation. When you add a number inside, it shifts horizontally. When you add a number outside, it shifts vertically. So I need to be able to put this in vertex form so I can quickly see what the shift is going to be. So now you need some mathematical skills here. First of all, you can type this in the calculator. You don't need any skills. You just look at the picture. But if you were going to look at the table on the calculator, the table doesn't automatically put, look at 0, 0 by the way. 0, 0 is a special number. That's the vertex. That's the turning point, the middle. that is your vertex of the parabola. If it's on the bottom, it's called a minimum. If it's on top, it's called a maximum. So I'm going to say this is my minimum. All right? So that matches the vertex. But if it looks crazy like this, then the vertex is no longer 0, 0. How do you know how to set up the table? How do you know what to put in the middle of the table? The vertex should be in the middle. Well, putting it in vertex form will tell you where to put the middle. So let's do it. First of all, understand that f of x is just a fancy way of saying a function of x, meaning y. Y depends on x. F of x depends on x. So I'm not going to concern myself with this. I'm only going to concern myself with this. Vertex form is directly related to, you guessed it, completing the square. As long as you know how to complete the square, you're good. So you remember this? X squared plus 8x. Ignore the 14. Plus blank minus blank. And then the 14 can drop down at the end. How do I figure out what goes in the blank? There's a formula. The formula is b over 2 squared. Remember that? This is my b. The 8 is the b. The coefficient of x is the b. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. That goes here and here. Why did I do that? Because this is now a perfect square trinomial. That's x plus 4 squared. And I'm going to combine my negative 16 and my positive 14 to get negative 2. So f of x equals this. What's interesting is if it's a multiple choice question and you type this in and you type this in and you press graph, you'll get the same exact picture and you'll know they're equivalent. If you have other pictures, you'll know they're not equivalent. You can eliminate those choices. So this and this are exactly the same. Why is this better looking? Because now I know my vertex. I found the vertex. The vertex is actually the opposite of what you think. It's negative 4, comma, negative 2. So here my vertex was 0, 0. Here my vertex would be negative 4, negative 2. That's the number that would show up in the table, and you would put that in the middle, and then copy 2 or 3 above, and 2 or 3 below, and make your points. I don't need to do anything on the calculator, because I already know that if my vertex is negative 4, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, here's my vertex. I already know that all parabolas have the same pattern, as long as there's no number in front of the x squared. As long as there's no leading coefficient, they all have the same pattern. They go over 1, up 1. So I would go over 1, up 1. Here's a point. Over 1, up 1 the other way also, because parabolas are symmetrical. Then I can start from the beginning again, go back to the vertex. This time go over 2, up how many? 4. Over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. And my next point will be here. And symmetrically, I go over 2 this way and up 4 this way. And I'm done. I never needed the calculator. So it's really up to you. But finding the vertex is helpful, even on the calculator or off the calculator. Very, very helpful. So try this one on your own. You can even pause it, but I'm going to do it with you. Here, what's the vertex? Let's put it in vertex form and find out. So that's x squared plus 2x plus blank minus blank, and then I'll move the minus 5 all the way over there. What do I fill in the blanks with? 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is still 1. That was easy. So plus 1 minus 1. This is great because it's a perfect square trinomial. That's x plus 1 squared. And then this is negative 6. So my vertex, so f of x equals that thing. And the vertex of that thing is negative 1, comma, negative 6. And I'm already done. You can easily build your parabola from there. Other things to know is you can easily also do it if this was an odd number. Well, not as easy. You would have to have a fraction here. Here and here would be fractions, but no big deal. So don't be scared if it was an odd number. Don't be scared if it was a negative number. If this is negative, then this doesn't change, but this would then be negative, and that would make this positive. All right? So you have the skills to do it no matter what they throw at you. Understand where the turning point is. That's very important. Even in word problems, they'll say, what's the minimum value? Or if I throw a ball in the air, what's the maximum value? So vertex is important. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.